Hello. So one thing I wanted to mention, which has been mentioned a couple of cruises and seminars, was that I was thinking of my dog when you chose me both times, and every time I think of him or see him, I just get into alignment straight away. So that was just a little shout out to my dog. But my question...
Is your dog easy to love?
Yes, so easy.
So that's a good process.
Yeah.
It's also a little conditional.
Yeah.
It's all right, but...
Which sort of led to one of my questions, which was, I have my own version of Jerry, which is my boyfriend, and we're really good at co-creating things together, like me being in the hot seat or getting our dog. Even being in the hot seat now, I think that was a co-creation between us, and I wanted to know how I could do more of that myself, not to let's have all the creations, but also do it a bit more myself so I don't feel like it's conditional.
You're following up on the very conversation that we were just having, in that there's a part of you that feels like you need to prove something. You're not ever going to be independent because you've got a whole host of non-physicals working with you. Don't you think it's time that you give up the notion that I need to singularly do something in order to prove worthiness to something?
Yeah.
And you know what's most interesting about that? The very entity that you want to prove worthiness to is the one who's helping you all the time. So it's like saying, I want to separate myself from you so that I can prove to you that I can connect with you. What?
Yeah.
You know how twisted that is?
Yeah.
What's this independence? And part of it, we foster some of it because we want you to make your connection with Source rather than look for it in others. And it's lovely when there's some other, like your boyfriend or like your dog, who, when you focus upon them, it's very easy for you to feel tuned in, tapped in, turned on. We encourage all of that selective sifting. We just want you to understand that once you connect with who you really are and you're steadily there, then you can explore the delicious advantage that even the disconnected people around you have to offer you. Oh, people will say to us, Abraham, I've been really doing this work and I feel good. But those people at work are so negative.
Yeah.
And what they're trying to impart to us is that now that they understand this, they want the universe to just deliver to them the blessed ones, the lovely ones. They think that we think that what we want them to think is that deliberate creation is just getting into the place where only the loveliest can surround you. And we say, no, what we want for you is that you are tuned in, tapped in, turned on so that you can experience the advantage of everything that's around you. There is advantage in contrast. Without contrast, you couldn't see anything. You couldn't hear anything. Contrast is important. But there's a difference between contrast and resistance. Drum roll, please. You're very compliant. Contrast is variety. Resistance is looking at the variety, choosing the unwanted and trying to hold it away. Resistance is attention upon something unwanted to the degree that it's reverberating in your vibration and therefore interfering with your source energy version of same subject. Follow?
Yeah. Is that to do with like perspective then as well?
Give us more.
Like, for example, the story about the caterpillar or the oak tree.
The centipede?
Yes, the centipede, sorry.
The poisonous centipede.
Yeah. The pretty centipede.
The beautiful, powerful,
yeah.
really fast.
Does that have to also do with perspective? Like if I saw something that might be contrasting, I could look at it.
Wouldn't it be sad that Esther would be so afraid of that centipede that she couldn't enjoy it? Wouldn't that have been a sad thing? Instead, she got to play with it. She got to co-create with it. She got to understand it a little bit. It got to understand her a little bit. We know you think that we're really stretching out there, but you're brilliant in wanting to reintroduce that back into this conversation because that is exactly what we're talking about. Esther wrote an email to someone back home that was talking to the printing company about that. And Esther's entire intention as she was writing the email was to soothe, to soothe everyone involved, because that tree is not standing there in diminishment or in blame in any way. And wouldn't it be nice if when Esther drives in her front gate next time she's back at the office, that instead of feeling the sadness of a broken tree or the clumsiness of a not careful driver, wouldn't it be a lovely thing if she could feel the return to the wholeness of herself that she accomplished, and the unimportance of the event, and appreciation for the new perspective that she gathered as a result of it? Life is so rich, and the richness of life doesn't just come from everything that's lined up with everything you think you already know you want. What about the things that you don't know yet that you want, that you haven't yet tasted? What about the new combinations of new experiences? What about that, you see? What about the new exposure to life from your newly discovered and practiced state of alignment with your inner being? You keep moving through your own evolution. We're talking to those of you who are deliberately understanding what deliberate creation is. So as you consciously acknowledge an improvement in your vibrational average, so to speak, now all the things in life that you've ever lived can run past you again and give you a different movie. In other words, same people in your life giving you different richness and depth in exposure and experience. You haven't even begun to scratch the surface of what the contrast that surrounds you can provide you in terms of clarity and understanding, and most of all, satisfaction. So when you came up here, what was on your mind?
How do I get the money out of the vortex and into the bank?
It's already in the bank.
Okay.
You've lost your PIN number. And your inner being knows what it is. You got to know that it's in there and acknowledge that it's yours, and acknowledge that you just have some simple things to do in order to begin experiencing it. You have to find some way of accepting that. And so far, for most humans, this vortex that we describe, this vibrational reality, doesn't feel real to you. The bank feels real. Statements come. Notices come. You can look every day to see how much is there if you want to. That feels real. But your vortex must not feel real, or we wouldn't be having this conversation. So the deeper question is, what can I do to cause my vortex to feel more real to me? And we say, spend more time there. Spend more time not doing that thing you do that doesn't keep you there. Spend more time allowing yourself to feel what that feels like. So what would the money being, we'll use your words, good words, if the money were, it'll never be out of the vortex because it's generated there. But what would lots of money streaming from the vortex into your bank account feel like? In other words, you don't want to take it out and put it over there. It's always coming. This well-being's always coming. The momentum of the well-being, so big, it's nearly unspeakable. So what would it feel like if it were already in your bank account? What are the emotions that you would feel? Not so much what you would do with it, but how would you feel about it?
Well, it'd be fun, but I'd also just expect, like, it would sort of be like entitled, like, of course it's there.
So you'd feel secure?
Yeah.
Do you have any way of feeling secure before you have awareness that the money is over there? Because if you need the money to be there before you feel secure, then it can't come. So you acknowledge how you would feel if it were there. Now you got to find some way of feeling that way. That's your PIN number. I got to feel like it feels when the money is already there. When you walk up to the ATM or wherever it is that you go, and you know that you've got money in your account and you want to withdraw some, same thing. You don't go up there sort of freaked out and panicked that your PIN number isn't working, do you? Do you? If your bank account says the money is there, don't you go with confidence to get some of it out? So how's this different? It's in this vortex bank, and a feeling of well-being and security and fun and exhilaration and eagerness and openness and exhilaration. Those are emotions that equal your PIN number. So as you steadily hold that, not infrequently, not sometimes stumble on it, but mostly feel insecure, that would be like going up to the ATM and trying a lot of different PIN numbers. Not sure I remember it. Let's try this one. Let's try this one. Let's try this one. Pretty soon they say, you're locked out. Too many tries. Come back later. So, you kind of getting this analogy a little bit? You got to practice until you know the PIN number. You know the PIN number. You've got the PIN number. It's within you. It feels like confidence. It feels like well-being. It feels like sureness. It feels like absolutely. It feels like I've got this. It feels like happiness. It feels like love and appreciation. So what you do, you just look for every opportunity that you can to do that until a giant poisonous centipede can walk across your floor and you still feel that way. This is a really good time for a segment of reflection.